Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, unpack them, and pull out the key insights for you.
That's right.
Today, we're diving into something pretty thought-provoking. It's a collection of blog posts, actually, from way back in 2009. And they explore how some ancient prophecies might be, well, unfolding right now, or I guess back then in 2009, pointing towards huge events, figures like the Mahdi, even the Dajjal.
Fascinating stuff.
So our mission today is to unpack these claims, understand the connections the author is drawing, between history, prophecy, see what kind of aha moments pop out.
But without endorsing any particular view, of course.
Exactly. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to getting informed on a topic that's, well, let's face it, pretty complex and debated.
Definitely. We're looking at blog posts by a writer named Murad Aga Daftar, mostly from February 2009.
Okay.
And he draws really heavily on a book called Prophetic Narrations for Egypt, Iraq, and Syria by Ahmed Abdullah Zaki Omeish.
Sure.
So the author Daftar, he presents what he sees as, let's call it evidence, that these prophecies were being fulfilled then and what that meant for the future.
Okay, let's get into it. So right off the bat, the author sets this tone, doesn't he? It feels really disillusioned about the Arab world specifically.
Oh, absolutely. A deep sense of division. He traces it back historically. Yeah. Well, the fall of the Ottoman Caliphate, for one. Then Sykes-Picot, the Balfour Declaration.
Ah, the classic points.
Yeah. But for him, these aren't just history lessons. He sees them as the root cause, really, of the disunity between Arab nations today. Or, again, back in 2009.
And he uses that striking example of the George Galloway convoy to Gaza.
He does. It's very evocative.
He frames it as trying to break not just the Gaza siege, but this siege Arabs impose on themselves.
Right. And he mentions that specific border crossing, the Zouj Bull, 2 mules between Morocco and Algeria.
Yeah.
Saying even the mules were amazed by these artificial lines between people who share everything, past, present, language, religion.
Wow. That paints a picture. It's a powerful symbol of self-imposed division, like you said.
It really is. And that leads him into a pretty scathing critique of Arab leadership.
Doesn't sound like he holds back.
Not at all. He complains about this fierce struggle for power in the republics. He contrasts it with monarchies, where he thinks it's maybe less intense because there's one clear authority. And he talks about exiled opposition groups, how even when they're in countries that respect human rights, they still get bogged down in internal power fights and marginalizing each other.
And he talks about selling principles, right? Compromising for personal gain.
Exactly. Especially, he suggests, as figures get older, maybe they fear dying before they see their goals achieved, so they compromise.
Okay.
And he even has this, well, it's almost darkly funny, classification of corrupt officials.
Oh, yeah.
Based on how much money they've supposedly taken. Abu Shafada for over $5 million.
Okay.
Abu Baksha for $500,000 to $5 million.
Okay.
And Abu Shubshab for under $500,000.
Wow, he really breaks it down. It's a vivid picture, even if it's pretty disheartening.
And then there's this really sharp comparison he makes. He says Israeli officials, work for Israel's interests.
Right.
But Arab officials, in his view, often work for their own interests.
Yeah.
And sometimes even Israel's interests, too.
Oof. That's cynical.
It is. His frustration is palpable. He calls February a bloody month for Arab civilians, referencing things like the Hama massacre in Syria in 1982.
A really brutal event.
He claims 30,000 died there. And he quotes Hafez al-Assad saying, "What happened in Hama happened and is over. Just chillin'."
Yeah.
And he sees parallels between that and attempts in 2009 to sort of tame Hamas through reconstruction talks.
Yeah.
Comparing it to past efforts against Hezbollah.
This critique extends to international justice too, doesn't it? He sees double standards.
He definitely does. He points to the ICC going after someone like Omar al-Bashir in Sudan, while, in his view, Israeli politicians or other Arab leaders accused of atrocities are ignored. And he really emphasizes remembering all the victims of what he calls Arab slavery and corruption, not just the high-profile ones. He contrasts it with Germany still compensating Jewish victims of WWII.
So there's this deep sense of loss, powerlessness. It really sets the stage.
Exactly. It's a heavy backdrop.
Okay, so from that place of, well, deep frustration and disillusionment, the author pivots. Quite dramatically, actually.
He does. He argues there's hope within this chaos.
And this is where the prophecies come in.
This is exactly where they come in. He claims specific ancient prophecies are actually unfolding, leading towards a kind of great relief and the arrival of this major figure, the Mahdi.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yes. This is the core of his argument. He pulls these excerpts from Omish's book, presenting them as prophetic evidences.
Okay, let's walk through them. What's the first one? He talks about sieges.
That's right. The prophecy says Iraq would be cut off from food and money by Ajam non-Arabs. And the Levant, or Sham, would face a similar thing from Rum, which he interprets as Romans, Europeans, Americans.
And he saw this fulfilled.
He points to the 1991 siege on Iraq by the international community, notably, not including Arab nations.
Right.
And then, more recently for him, in 2009, American and Israeli actions against Syria and Palestine.
And this signals what for him?
A clear sign, he argues, that a caliph is coming who will throw money without counting. A key description of the Mahdi.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the sieges. What's the next piece of evidence? It's about historical periods.
It's like a grand sweep of Islamic history laid out prophetically.
How so?
It describes stages, the prophet's time, then a caliphate following his method, then a period of biting kingship. He connects this to the Ottomans, ending with King Farouk of Egypt.
Okay.
Then a phase of tyrannical rule. And that, he says, is the state of Arab republics in his time.
The present day for him.
Exactly. But the prophecy then predicts a return to a caliphate on the prophetic method.
So for the author, this means
the Mahdi must be alive, ready to bring about that final stage.
Wow, okay, that's a definite structure. How does he weave the Dajjal, the Antichrist, into this timeline?
Well, the third piece of evidence suggests the Dajjal's appearance is getting close.
Based on what?
There's a prophecy saying only 7 years pass between a major battle and the Dajjal emerging.
Okay, a specific time frame.
Yes. And he identifies the battle, or the lead-up, with the black banners. He interprets this as the Taliban and Northern Alliance factions fighting in Afghanistan.
Right.
Followed by the yellow banners, the international forces, U.S., UK. He controversially links their arrival to a 9/11 conspiracy.
Okay.
These forces, he notes, gathered at the Bridge of the People of Egypt. He says that's the Suez Canal, before fighting in Afghanistan for 7 months.
It's very detailed.
Very. Then he shifts to Iraq and Syria, claiming the people of the East, his term for Jews, are being used by Americans in a proxy war.
And this culminates in...
The prophecy predicts the rise of the Sufyani, an enemy figure who is contemporary with the Mahdi, who will lead the people of Sham against these people of the East. It's a really intricate web he's weaving.
It certainly is. So, zooming out a bit, what does this mean for the bigger picture, the signs of the hour, the end times countdown?
Well, the fourth evidence tackles 6 major signs that are supposed to precede the hour.
Okay, what are they?
The prophet's death, the conquest of Jerusalem, a major plague. He identifies that as the historical Amwas plague, an abundance of wealth, widespread strife, which he connects to media and the internet's influence.
Interesting interpretation.
And finally, the return of Crusader forces, specifically 80 banners, 12,000 soldiers each, almost 1 million troops.
Wow.
The author believes all these minor signs are pretty much done or nearly done.
And the Crusader return.
He sees the presence of U.S. and international forces in Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan back then as fulfilling that sign.
And the implication.
He argues these events demand a new leader, someone like Saladin or Qautuz, historical figures who united Muslims. And for him, that leader has to be the Mahdi.
It's fascinating how he mixes these huge historical arcs with really specific details, like the one about the Prophet's mosque.
Yes, that's the fifth evidence.
Yeah.
It's quite vivid. There's a prophecy describing the Dajjal climbing Mount Uhud, looking at Medina,
Okay.
and calling the Prophet's mosque a white palace.
Yeah.
The author points out that, well, today, or 2009, the mosque does look like a white palace. You can even see it on TV that way.
So a visual confirmation for him.
Exactly. A clear contemporary sign that the Mahdi is about to appear.
Now, with prophecies about the Mahdi, there's always the question of false claimants, right? Does the author address how to distinguish the real one?
He does. The sixth evidence deals with that directly. It describes a prophecy about 2 people seeking refuge at the Kaaba in Mecca.
2 seekers.
Yes. The first one is killed. Then, after a period of time, which the author figures is about 25, 30 years, the second, true Mahdi, will emerge.
And there's a sign.
A big one. An army sent to fight this second Mahdi will be swallowed by the earth, the army of the Kus.
Okay. Has the first part happened, according to him?
He identifies the first seeker as Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Qahtani. He claimed to be the Mahdi around 1979, 1980, 1400 in the Islamic calendar, and was killed by Saudi forces during the Grand Mosque seizure.
Ah, I remember that event.
So for the author, that event sets the timer. The stage is set for the true Mahdi's imminent arrival, who, interestingly, will be supported by an army that lacks traditional military power.
Okay, so matching history to prophecy again. Then there's an even more specific one about an Ethiopian leader.
Yes, the seventh evidence. It's quite remarkable. A prophecy about an Ethiopian or Abyssinian army, 300,000 strong.
Wow.
Led by a man named Assis. And they will fight the Mahdi and the people of Sham.
Assis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The author points out that the president of Eritrea, which used to be part of Abyssinia, is named Isaias Afwerki.
Oh, Isaias. That's very close.
Strikingly similar. And he also mentions the Eritrean army gathering on the Sudanese border around that time as another contemporary sign.
Okay. And the black banners come up again in relation to the Mahdi's supporters this time.
They do. That's the eighth piece of evidence, back to the black banners from Khorasan, Afghanistan.
Right.
The prophecy says they'll seek justice, they'll fight, they'll win, and then they'll hand over leadership to a man from the prophet's family, the Mahdi.
So they paved the way for him.
Pretty much. He connects this to the Taliban's presence in the East. He even brings up Osama bin Laden's 2006 speech telling followers to go to the Arabian Peninsula in Sudan. He suggests Talaqwan, which he interprets as Taliban, are key Mahdi supporters. And he mentions other figures like Harith bin Harath, maybe bin Laden, he speculates, and Mansour preparing the way. Plus another figure, Shuaib bin Salah, who supposedly emerges 6 years before the Mahdi.
Okay, let's unpack this. Very specific details. What else? You mentioned signs of relief.
Yes, the ninth evidence brings in two prophecies about relief or faraj.
What do they say?
The first one, attributed to Ali, says relief comes with three signs. Disagreement among the people of Sham, Syria, Levant.
Okay.
The appearance of the black banners.
We've heard that one.
And a quaza, a sign from the sky during Ramadan.
A sign from the sky? Like what?
We'll get to that. The second prophecy says relief won't come until 4 rulers, all sons of the same man, have ruled.
4 sons of one man. Has that happened, according to the author?
He says yes. He points to the 4 sons of King Abdul Aziz Al Saud, who ruled Saudi Arabia consecutively. Saud, Faisal, Khalid, and Fahd.
Right, so he checks that box. Now, back to the quaza, the sign from the sky.
He interprets that as a comet, specifically called the Tark, and it's meant to cause a massive sound, a vibration.
And a comet causing a huge sound.
Okay. And this comet brings instructions.
For survival.
This is one of the most fascinating parts, really. The prophecy apparently gives very specific instructions for when this happened.
Which is when, exactly.
On a Friday, mid-Ramadan, in a year with lots of earthquakes and cold. During this
people should do what?
Stay inside. Close all openings, doors, windows, wear thick clothes, cover their ears, prostrate themselves on the ground, and repeat, Subhanahu Quaddis, glory be to the Most Holy.
Wow. Very specific actions. Does he try to explain why?
He does. He attempts a kind of scientific explanation.
Really? For ancient prophecy?
Yeah. He suggests the comet will emit powerful electromagnetic waves, maybe supersonic sound waves that can even penetrate skin.
Okay.
So thick clothes and covered ears. Protection from sound waves.
Makes a kind of intuitive sense, I guess. And the prostration.
He argues that's the only way to avoid passing out or even dying from extreme fear. Because, he claims, it helps blood flow to the brain and discharges electromagnetic buildup through the 7 points of contact with the ground.
That's quite a theory, connecting physiology and electromagnetism to prostration.
It is. He also estimates the event will last from minutes up to an hour. And it'll be dawn in the Middle East, evening in the West when it hits.
That's an astonishing claim, blending science and survival instructions from prophecy. And he also suggests that just praising God could be like food.
Yes, the tasbih, saying Subhanal Quddus, while prostrating. He explains it as both spiritual and physical nourishment.
How so?
He says it strengthens the body, especially the blood, when it's under stress from fear hormones. He cites a story about the Prophet advising his daughter Fatima and Ali to use tasbih for strength instead of needing a servant.
Interesting parallel.
And he also mentions tasbih being the believer's food during the famine just before the Dajjal appears. So it's sustenance in times of extreme hardship.
It connects the spiritual practice directly to physical survival in these scenarios. Okay, so putting all these signs together, what does this mean for the timing? Does the author get specific about years? He mentions manuscripts.
He does. This is the 10th evidence. He refers to a manuscript attributed to Abu Huraira, one of the Prophet's companions.
It says
something like, in the Hijri centuries of 1400, add 2 or 3 decades. The trustworthy Mahdi will emerge.
Okay, 1400 Hijri started around 1979, 1980 AD ZCE, so add 2 or 3 decades.
Exactly. The author, writing in 2009, calculates this points to the Mahdi emerging between 1420 and 1430 AH.
Which translates to roughly
1999 to 2009 CE. So writing in early 2009, he claims there are only about 3 years left, putting the Mahdi's appearance around 2012.
Wow, that's very specific. Any other manuscripts?
He mentions the Jafar al-Jami manuscript, said to be from Imam Ali.
What does that one predict?
The burning of Al-Aqsa Mosque. He says that happened in 1968. The power of media, he links that to satellites, preparations for building the Jewish temple. It also apparently foretells Arab weakness. The fall of rulers, he specifically interprets Abu Salam as President Mubarak of Egypt, and even the drowning of a ruler who separates religion from state.
That's a lot.
And maybe most striking, he references a 12th century manuscript from Nur ad-Din Zengi. It supposedly documents a Jewish priest predicting future Jewish global dominance, control over kings.
Okay.
And eventually a tyrant from Babylon, meaning Iraq, turning against them.
So he's pulling from multiple historical sources, claiming they all point towards this imminent time frame. He gets specific about Saudi Arabia too, right?
Very specific. That's the 11th evidence. It focuses on a prophecy about disagreement breaking out after the death of a caliph who collected wealth.
Who does he identify that as?
Saudi King Fahd. The prophecy then says a weak successor follows. He identifies this as King Abdullah, saying he's beloved but vulnerable to plots.
And what happens to this successor?
He would be deposed after 2 years, leading to chaos in Medina, people fleeing to Mecca, and then the Mahdi receives allegiance there.
So he's predicting King Abdullah's removal.
Boldly, yes. He predicts it within 1.5 years from his writing time in 2009.
Wow.
And he links this chaotic period to military attacks on Syria and Egypt connected to that Sufyani figure we mentioned earlier.
Okay. And finally, he brings in dreams. That feels like a different kind of evidence.
It is, but it's traditionally significant in Islamic culture. Yeah. The Prophet himself called dreams good tidings after prophecy ceased. This is the 12th evidence.
What kind of dreams does he cite?
He lists 4 key ones. First, someone sees the phrase, "No God but Allah," Jesus 1434.
1434 AH. That's around.
2013 CE. And Jesus is considered a contemporary of the Mahdi in these traditions.
Okay, another date alignment. What else?
A dream about Saudi women weeping in black after King Fahd died, then Abdullah taking power, then his death causing chaos. And a vision of the Mahdi escaping soldiers.
Echoes the previous point.
Third, a sister dreams she hears a loud sound and someone tells her the Antichrist, Dajjal, has appeared.
Connecting to the Dajjal timeline.
And fourth, another sister dreams the prophet gives her a book. It's blank, except for one page that says, the hour has approached and the moon has split, and she's told to deliver God's message.
So for the author, these aren't just random dreams.
No, he sees them as significant prophetic confirmations reinforcing the other evidence.
Well, this has certainly been a deep dive. It's a unique perspective, connecting all these dots between history, prophecy, specific events, even dreams.
It really is. The author meticulously builds this case, linking ancient texts to what he saw as contemporary fulfillment back in 2009, even trying to find, quasi-scientific reasons for some of the prophetic instructions.
Yeah, the comet survival part was pretty wild.
Absolutely. But regardless of whether you or I or anyone listening believes these specific interpretations,
right,
the underlying message from the author is quite powerful. It's a call back to faith, a call for unity, for preparedness, especially when facing what he saw as huge challenges.
He clearly felt the minor signs were done.
Completely. He was convinced we were right on the edge of the major signs back then. It shows how people, especially in uncertain times, look to these ancient frameworks for meaning, for a sense of order or a plan unfolding.
So what stands out to you listening to all this? Think about those themes of division, leadership, the search for salvation or relief. How do they echo maybe in our world today? And how can people find purpose even when they feel profoundly disillusioned like the author clearly did?
It also raises big questions, doesn't it? In our age, just saturated with information, constant change, how do we tell the difference between, say, genuine insight and just a really compelling story?
Especially when it touches on deep beliefs, global events.
Exactly. How does exploring something like this challenge what we even mean by being well-informed? And what responsibility comes with that, and how we engage with the stories shaping our view of the world?
Definitely something to think about.